Hold on. Does that look worse? I feel like that looks worse. I've told this story a few times now, but I've only told it in... I already can't talk. I already cannot talk, and I just started the video. I also should not be talking because of my notes. All right. This ain't gonna work. It is gonna work. It's gonna be fine. I feel like the end of the video that I made, the 8th vlog, I think, was abrupt and frightening. And I want to let you guys know that, like, it's cool. Like, it's fine. I was not... Well, I was hurt. I wasn't that... Well, it was a little traumatizing. I don't know how to begin to describe the experience that I had jet skiing in Key West, because it's such a ridiculous story that I feel like when I tell it, you guys aren't even gonna, you're not gonna believe me, because it's such a bananas story. In my vlogs, I just didn't explain it. I just realized after the first day that it's gonna need to be a story time, and it wasn't a story time I was prepared to tell on vacation. Now I'm gonna leave a timestamp right here, so if you watched those vlogs and you just want to get to the story, just click this time here. And yeah, it's the middle of July. And so it's been a few months now. I've had time to let you know what happened, to settle, and figure out how to tell the story. And the only way to tell the story is to start at the beginning. So if you've been watching my vlogs, you'll know that I went on a road trip in the beginning of the spring. Middle of the spring? In spring, I went on a road trip. And I figured if I'm going to take a road trip down south, down the coast, why not just end at the end of the coast? Why not just go all the way to the Keys? It was very tiring because I went by myself, so I do all that driving, but it was great, except for when it wasn't. Even the bad parts, it's to the point where it's like I have a story out of it, so it's not that bad, it's just a lot. So I decided before I even left on the trip that I was going to look at some stuff to do. One of the things that I looked up was you could go on these boating excursions, you can do all sorts of fun little paddle boarding, you could do all sorts of fun stuff. Sorry that you're shaking. You're like balanced on my laptop, on my bed, on like a bunch of blankets that I should fold and put away, but I'm not gonna. Sorry. And when I saw that one of the options on the website was a jet skiing excursion, I was like, oh, hell yeah. It was really one of the biggest things I spent money on. I'm not gonna say where I purchased the tour through, because even though this could count as a review, I don't wanna... I'm not going to attach them to this because stuff does go wrong, and I don't want any of them to get in trouble, because the guys that I dealt with through the company that day, they were great. They were awesome. They were just as exasperated and over with and done with the situation, just like me and the other couple people on the tour. So the day of the tour, I wake up, I drive the rest of the way to the Keys. I get there, I check into my hostel, I go, I take the boater safety exam, and then I'm waiting to get on the jet ski. And when I get there, I meet guy number 1. Let's call him Jason. I don't remember his name. Jason's sitting there. And Jason, the first thing I noticed about Jason is how bloodshot red his eyes are. And I'm thinking like, damn, like, you're at work? It's probably a pretty lax company with their employees anyway. Like, that's not me judging him. Like, go off, bro. Like, if that's what you need to, like, get through work day. But it seemed to be, like, the first thing I noticed about him was his bloodshot eyes. So I was like, I don't know, either you're high or just so hungover that your body literally can't handle it. The tour is scheduled for 6. 6 rolls around and time starts ticking, and like I'm not seeing the dude who's supposed to be taking me on the tour, and we're gonna call him like Seth. I don't know. So we got Jason, we got Seth. The website had said it was gonna be a moderate level of activity. So I'm like, moderate, like I could do, even if it's at high level activity. Like, a sister's strong. A sister can like do stuff. It's fine. Like, she's not like in shape, but she can like handle it, you know? So if you've watched my vlog, you know that the only thing I was scared of was getting sunburned. I used to be terrified of flying. I got over that because by flying, I used to be kind of afraid of the ocean, just because the ocean's fucking scary. Like, if you're not scared of the ocean to at least a healthy extent, like there's something wrong with you. These 2 European dudes show up. I think it was a father and a son. The son was probably like around my age. A couple European guys with their GoPro, me, and then Seth. Eventually suit up in our little life jackets, and then we hit the water, basically. He takes us to our jet skis, and once I stepped foot in the water, I started realizing, oh shit, like I'm about to go out on like a machine. Like, we're doing this whether you want it or not. Like, you are not getting a refund, sister. You have to do it. And it's not like I was scared. It was just like, oh shit, like the adrenaline kind of hit me as I hit the water. And then of course, like 5 steps in, I'm like thigh high, and all I feel is just fucking things touching me because there's seaweed everywhere. And I like booked it to my assigned jet ski, and the guy, Seth, is just laughing at me, and he was like, it's just seaweed. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't fucking deal with this in my everyday life like you do. Seth explained to us that it's much easier to control the machine when you are going at a steady, faster speed. It's much easier to go. Like, the slower you go, you're gonna like be bumping, and it's gonna be harder to steer. So like, you gotta keep a steady pace. He goes first, and in his little like water trail, there's always like two little like here's him, and he is going this way, and then his jet ski leaves a trail like this, and then like some white fuzzy water in the middle. He says, follow like that fuzzy water, stay in the middle, we're gonna go in a trail, I'm gonna lead, you're gonna follow me, and then the two Europeans are behind me. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is as someone who is very naturally athletic and very naturally competitive to not immediately be good at something. So when that happens, 1, I get frustrated, 2, I get a little bit angry, and 3, I decide now I have to be the best I can be at this stupid fucking task that I'm performing. That's just how I function on a regular. It is very hard for me to get the hang of it at first, and it takes us maybe a good 10 minutes to even get to our first stop of the tour. Eventually, I start getting a little bit of the hang of it, and the two dudes behind me, since they've been on jet skis before, it's easy for them, so they're kind of like playfully laughing at me. But in my brain, I'm thinking like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why can't you do this? You're a really good driver. Why can't you be good on the water? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I'm getting really mad at me, which I mean, like, who else am I gonna get mad at? The fucking ocean? I'm lucky she's not like bitch slapping me down into fucking Atlantis. That's all good and well and fun, and well, it's not, because I'm not doing well. The faster we go, the more stops we make, the better I am at doing it. And the dude, Seth, when he realizes I'm getting better and better, he starts like standing up and looking back and like grinning at me and then speeding away from me. And I know I don't do that for a living, and I shouldn't have kept up with his speed. But I kept up with his speed because I will be goddamned if you shoot me a shit-eating grin and then speed away and leave me in the dust. I had these specific sunglasses on the entire time. These puppies stayed on my face, and I'm so glad that I wore these and that they didn't budge, because I wish I had worn goggles because of how much spray just goes right into your face sometimes. Don't wear makeup in the water, kids. Even if you do have fucking setting spray, just don't do that to your skin. Key West is gorgeous. Key West from the water is like a whole other world. It's incredible. You get to see everything. He was taking us through a canal, and when he took us through the canal, we were going really slow, and he was like saying like, oh, did you see that giant fish? And I was like, no, where was it? And he was telling me how it was like this fucking big, and he's like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. When we go up there, we'll be able to like swim like a little bit away from them. I was like, I'm not swimming. I'm not getting off my jet ski unless God herself decides to flip my jet ski and just snap my neck then and there. I told this dude, I was like, I would rather die than get in this water willingly. Gravity will have to rip me down to hell because I'm not getting off this jet ski. I was talking to the dude. We were getting along, shooting the shit. I was like, asking him how long he'd lived in Key West. And he'd lived in the Keys his whole life. He'd been working there for years. He was like, it's the best place to live, best job to have. He was like, I love it down here. Every day's like a vacation. And I've grown up knowing this. And I'm like, man, that's so sick. Again, at this point, I have the hang of it. And the water was just incredible. So he takes us to this wide open space, says, here, you can do whatever you want within these boundaries. If you want to like go and speed around, and if you want to like just leave your jet ski and hop off and play around for a bit, swim a bit, do whatever you want. We're going to do this for like 15 minutes. So I just did donuts for like the entire 15 minutes. And again, the Europeans are just going ham, and I'm looking at the water like, I don't trust the ocean. It's not out of irrational fear, it's out of respect and, well, fear of the unknown, because the ocean's scary. He said, we're gonna cross the harbor and you get to see people throwing food at each other. I was like, what? I was like, is this just like do they give tours where like you just arm up with like food? And he was like, no, it's like a battle reenactment. And I said, what battle are you, what? At first I thought he was joking, because he was like, yeah, we're gonna go watch people throw food and spray each other with water and this and that. I really thought he was fucking with us. We started heading over towards the harbor. The water started getting really choppy, to the point where even though like I was staying with it, he was stopping and checking back on us, because it was like, water's pretty rough, I know, we'll get through it. It's probably just a really rough patch. Just keep on going through. And at this point, like, I am getting... it's a constant spray of salt water in my face. Every like 100 yards, I'm having to like move my sunglasses and like wipe away just salt water from my eyes, and I know that I just look like a goddamn wreck because the makeup I know isn't there anymore. I can see that Seth's getting kind of apprehensive and kind of nervous because, like, he's checking back on us, like, constantly, and I'm watching him go, and even he looks like he's having a little bit of trouble. So that wasn't too much of a red flag, but I did note it. Waves are getting rougher and rougher, and he eventually, like, pulls back a bit. He's like, are you ready to see, you know, the battle, whatever? And I'm like, okay, like, whatever you say. We take off again. Water, the further we go in, is getting choppier and choppier and choppier. It's really, really hard, and anybody who knows what it's like to be on a jet ski know, like, your arms get tired. It got to the point where I thought to my brain, like, if I let go of this jet ski, I'm going and I'm fucking drowning. Eventually, I see in the distance, and I shit you not, airplanes, like little biplanes circling, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it looks like they're dropping something from their planes, but I can't tell what it is. Boats everywhere. And it's funny because I found videos on YouTube of this event, and from land it does not look that crazy, and you may think this looks crazy enough. In the water, it's overwhelming. There are boats of all sizes, giant, teeny. There are little, like, tiki huts just floating on the water with like 10-12 people in them. Everyone is armed from their asses to their eyeballs with water guns, hoses, hot dogs, bread rolls, nonsense. And they are just chucking shit at each other. You know how they have high school movies where it's like the stereotypical food fight and everyone's just throwing shit and it's chaos and stuff's getting sprayed and everybody's just, it's like wild animals, like that fucking Mean Girl scene, but like with food, and it's a food fight and it's chaos. So we're approaching the harbor. I'm taking all of this in with this thought in my head, like, holy shit, he was not kidding. Suddenly it dawns on me, no wonder the water's so rough. There are all these boats in the water churning up this rough shit. No wonder I can't control the jet ski. Seth looks nervous about the fact that, like, I don't know, he's suddenly not going very fast. We get to almost the dead center of the harbor to cut around and, like, loop back around the island for the rest of the tour. As he's slowing down, I start slowing down, and the Europeans behind me are slowing down. But I look up at Seth, and he doesn't seem to want to be slowing down. He just seems to be slowing down because, well, you know, slowing down. And as I get closer and closer to him and hear him, I realize something's not right. Something's not right. He was like,
oh shit, I really think my jet ski just broke. My jet ski just broke.
And I said, what? And it's moving, but it's moving like this fast. It's only gliding. It's not going. Like, the engine's not working. It's very much an oh no, what now situation, and I can, like, see it in his eyes, and I can just sense it in his temperament and his body language. The European guys come up, and I look at them, and we all look around, and we're literally like, what the fuck is going on? Because I look up and I see these planes are dropping toilet paper rolls from the sky onto the ships, onto us. All I do is I look around and I just think to myself, I wish I had that GoPro, because nobody is going to believe what the hell's going on. So Seth gets into his little center console on his jet ski. His phone is in there, and he's like, I think we might need to get a tow. Let me call up Jason and have him come, like, get me a tow. Okay, great. I guess I'll just sit here and try not to let the waves knock me off my jet ski. Of course, the Europeans jump straight into the water. Seth looks at me when he realizes they're in the water, and he was like, I guess that's okay. And I'm like, what do you mean you guess? He was like,
well, sharks usually are around here. Like, there's sharks in these waters.
And I said, what? Why are we, what? Seth? Listen, I'm not one of those people that's scared of the water because of sharks. Like, this is their turf anyway. Like, I'm not gonna fuck with a shark. But if you tell me there's sharks in the water, I'm not getting out my... Fucking Europeans be crazy. I'll just say that. But at this point, we've been stopped for like 20 minutes, and we left on this jet ski tour at 6 o'clock. So it's around like 7 o'clock now, 7:30 maybe. Sun's starting to set. And I inwardly start to have a little bit of a meltdown because the sun is setting. At this point, Seth is still, like, trying to get a hold of Jason. Seth has not been able to get a hold of Jason. Jason's not answering the phone. He finds out after 10 minutes of trying, when Jason answered the phone, Jason went home. Jason had said, well, he's on the last tour of the day. I'm getting my things and I'm leaving. Jason doesn't live on Key West. Jason lives on one of the other keys. So Jason has to turn around and head back to Key West, because Jason is not in Key West. He is not on the island of Key West anymore. Jason is on a different island. Jason has not left the chat. Jason has left the island. When Seth realizes that, he hangs up the phone. And at this point, he doesn't know if Jason's gonna, like, tow us, but he knows Jason's gonna come back and, like, figure something out for us. And he starts looking around, and he's like, well, I think our company owns, like, one of these ships, so, like, we might have to, and I can tell as he's telling me this is worst case scenario that he's telling me, like, we might have to evacuate onto one of these ships, but I can just sense that he does not want to do that, because I don't know if he would get in trouble, or if he would have to, like, face any consequence because, like, something like this happened. Maybe he took us into these waters that he knew were rough, and you're not supposed to do that. I don't really know their policy for leading these tours, so I don't know if he was just trying to avoid him getting in trouble. We're sitting there, he's just kind of like spitballing like ideas out loud to me while the Europeans just swim in their shark infested waters like uncaringly with their GoPro. I am at this point kind of like just swallowing back a panic attack, because my fear of the ocean, suddenly it's never gone. It's been there the whole time. Suddenly I don't know what I'm doing out there. Suddenly I don't know why I'm on the water, and suddenly I'm convinced that I'm not getting out alive. And what was great was that the Coast Guard was out there, because the Coast Guard had one of their giant ships out there to spray people with their hose, to throw food at, like, the Coast Guard was murking the shit out of people, and it was really funny to watch. I was like, great, at least the Coast Guard's out here. Like, if we have to, maybe we can, like, be like, hey, we're stranded, we need help, Coast Guard, help us. And there's a smaller Coast Guard ship that's, like, doing patrols to make sure, like, some of the smaller ships stay out of the path of the giant Coast Guard ship, and some of the bigger ships too. Minutes later, I see the mini Coast Guard ship start driving towards us, and Seth's like, oh, he's gonna tell us to move because we're in the way. So I think, great, when Coast Guard man comes over here, Seth can be like, hey, it's broken, we might need a little bit of help, do you mind lending us a hand? Coast Guard comes over and says, hey, you gotta get out of the way, you need to back up, you can watch from over there. And Seth says,
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thanks.
and I, in my just stunned stupor, just turn around and follow him. Because what am I gonna tell the fucking Coast Guard? No, he's a liar, we're stuck, help me? I mean, I could have. Instead, I said I'm gonna trust Seth, and I turned and I followed Seth. And, like, at this point, the, like, medium-sized to small ships are noticing us, and suddenly we're targets now, because they're, like, trying to get closer to us. Because, like, you see jet skis, and you're like, oh, easy, like, I'll hit that. Like, let me go spray that. Let me go throw food at that. Every time a ship started throwing things at us, I started, like, holding my hands up, because I was like, fuck it. If I'm gonna die, last meal here, bitch. Like, throw me a bread roll. I don't care. This sounds insane. This sounds crazy. But what's funny is that I found a clip of either right before or right after the little Coast Guard ship tells us to move. And here it is. Now you can just barely see us in that corner. We were the only jet skis out there because, you know, jet skis aren't supposed to be out there. It was nearing, you know, sundown, and jet skis don't have headlights, so we could get in a lot of trouble. Like, it's illegal. It's illegal to be out there without a headlight, and the sun is going down, and I'm thinking to myself, are we supposed to fucking drive home in these choppy waters in the dark? I'm going to die. I'm gonna die. Like, that's it. And at this point, like, I want to be evacuated onto a ship. I don't care if it looks like some dramatic rescue thing you would see on those, like, real footage TV shows on Spike TV back in 2008. Like, I don't care. I want out. I want out. I want off the ride. Suddenly I hate jet skis. Suddenly I hate the ocean. Suddenly the Gulf of Mexico can suck my asshole. I'm over it. I don't want to be part of this. It's not fun. I'm not having fun. And at the same time, the waters are still so choppy. So, like, we're still just holding on to these jet skis. Well, I'm holding on for dear life. The Europeans are just fucking the sharks at this point. Like, they don't even care. Out of the horizon suddenly, coming straight towards us, suddenly we see Jason. And the first thing I notice is that Jason is just on a jet ski, and he has no spare jet ski. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, I guess Jason will come over here, and maybe I'll be like, please, Seth, take my jet ski. Can I just hop on the back of yours? Or can I hop on the back of Seth, can I just hop on the back of someone's jet ski? Like, my arms are tired. Like, I'm so tired. And remember, I've been pulling full, long, early days since I've been on vacation, since I've been waking up early to drive, and I've been going to bed kind of late because I've had a full day, like, doing things and seeing stuff and getting to hostels and hotels, and it's been a lot. So I'm exhausted. What happens is that Jason and Seth, they hook the broken jet ski up to the new jet ski, and Seth hops on the back of Jason's jet ski, and we are told to follow. When I tell you that I could have just let the sharks eat me at that point because I was so over it. Yeah. The adrenaline, like, kicked in because, like, great, our, like, rescue is here. Our way out is here. And at this point, again, it's sunset. The Europeans are still, like, having the time of their lives, recording the sunset. I wish I could find these people. I wish I'd gotten their names so I could get those pictures because I'm sure they were pretty sick. We start going, and of course the water is so choppy that not even 5 minutes in as we're following, and I am just begging my hands to not unclench, because if they unclench, I'm dead. I'm trying to, like, just squint my eyes and just deal with the onslaught of salt water into my face and up my brain, and the jet ski that they're towing capsizes. So they stop. Seth jumps in the water, goes immediately to flip it, tries to find the little emergency box that was in the center console, finds it. He doesn't lose his phone and his emergency supplies. And at this point, I am just laughing my ass off because this is just so ridiculous. And fucking Jason, who has joined the party, and is like,
Don't you fucking laugh, like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to be here. I want to be at home.
but I was like,
I want to be at home too. I don't even live here.
we're going back and forth, and he was like, I can't believe I thought you were cute. And I was like, good. Like, I'm glad I'm ruined for you now. Because at this point, I am, like, very verbal to this young gentleman that I am tired. I want to go home. I have had so much salt water put in my body. I'm scared. I want to cry. My arms are going to fall off. The sharks are going to eat me. And it's all your fault because you took us to these boats and they were spraying us with water and they were throwing food at me and I couldn't even eat the food. And then the airplanes are dropping stuff up into the sky, disrespecting me to a degree in which I find hilarious. Oh my God. And I don't even have a GoPro to film it all. So when I tell you that we were being sprayed with fire hoses by the Coast Guard, please believe me. Because you can't make this shit up. They flip the jet ski. They take us back to the shore. It's dark at this point. I'm tired. Thankfully, the waters got less choppy as we got further and further away, so I was able to keep up and speed back. And at this point, I'm shaking because all the adrenaline is worn off and the fear is subsiding. Once we, like, park the jet ski, I hop off, crawl to the shore. I don't even give a shit about the seaweed all over my feet at this point. And I literally just sit down on the shore. And Seth honestly looks at me and he was like, I get it. That has never happened before in the entire time I've been doing this. And he was like, I've been doing this for years. I see this kid and he's shaken up and I just want to assure him because that's the kind of person I am. So I was just like, dude, I couldn't have asked for that experience if I'd paid for it. He was like, this has just never happened. It's never been this bad. He was like, great job. I'm sorry. I later looked up what that holiday is called, and it's not just a thing that they do on Friday nights in Key West. The Battle of the Conch Republic. Key West seceded for a few days back in like the 70s or 80s. So Key West is technically a micronation, but I mean they're still part of the United States. After they went back from their secession and they became part of the United States again because they realized it sucked being seceded or something like that, they decided that they wanted to celebrate their independence by having a reenactment of a battle that never happened, which is why it's such a ridiculous battle where they just spray each other with hoses and they throw food at each other and biplanes drop toilet paper down on you from the sky. So you can actually find footage of it on YouTube besides what I showed you. This was just a circumstance of wrong place, wrong time. Or maybe right place, wrong time if you enjoy chaos and being traumatized, which, I mean, I like chaos as much as the next person, but that shit was scary. If I was given the choice of either don't go through the experience at all or go through the experience with a GoPro, I would go through it again with a GoPro just because the things that were just personally happening to us in our little bubble as jet skis in the middle of the Battle of the Conch Republic, unparalleled, honestly, in terms of chaos, insanity, and hilarity. It was probably the funniest thing that could have ever happened on a jet ski tour that was supposed to just be a nice scenic loop around the island. God damn, Key West. Like, just be crazier. Beautiful city, check it out. stay in one of their hostels if you want an affordable vacation. You get really the same experience as if you stayed in a super expensive hotel. If you watch this entire thing, great. If you didn't, you're not watching this clip anyway, so I don't know who I'm addressing. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.